For Best Documentary Feature, the nominees are...
It's often overlooked, but one of the most compelling Oscar categories is that of Best Documentary Feature. This year, the prevailing view here in Hollywood is that a London-based filmmaker will take home the Best Documentary prize. Britain's Asif Kapadia is viewed as a favourite to win the Best Documentary Feature Oscar for Amy, his portrait of the late singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse. The film, which has taken in $8 million at the box office in the US alone, a huge amount for a documentary, has also been a critical hit. Kapadia, of course, would be pleased if he did win the Oscar.
It'd be amazing, but you know, I'm already working on my next movie and figuring out what I'm going to do after that. And I think all of this stuff is great, but that's not what it's about. It's just about creating work.
Like, you know, if I am black and beautiful, I really am, and I know it, and I don't care who cares who says what.
Another Oscar-nominated musical offering is What Happened, Miss Simone, a portrait of the singer and civil rights activist Nina Simone, who died in 2003.
Nina Simone is so relevant today, I think, as everything in America is really heating up in terms of the movement and in terms of the renewed spotlight on killings of unarmed black men and on general racism and white supremacist movements in this country. Nina's music is more relevant than ever, and that kind of bold truth-speaking in the face of power is what artists today are looking up to.
Kalau orang sini, orang kampung sekarang Bapak itu takut sama Bapak.
Kalau dia lawan mantan saya, mereka orang itu percuma.
The aftermath of the mass killings in Indonesia in the 1960s is the subject of The Look of Silence, also up for a Best Documentary Feature Oscar. The film is directed by Joshua Oppenheimer. It's a companion piece to his Oscar-nominated The Act of Killing, which focused on the perpetrators. The Look of Silence concentrates more on the victims living in the shadow of the slaughterers. It's a strong, traumatic film which could win.
In the case of The Look of Silence, the family at the center of the film was forced to send their younger children to school to be taught by teachers who were the murderers of their older children. What does it mean to have to live like that? What does it do to a human being, to their memories, their thoughts, their feelings, their bodies, to have to live decades and decades in fear and silence?
There's an imaginary line out there between right and wrong, good and evil.
Dealing with a contemporary conflict is the Oscar-nominated documentary Cartel Land. It looks at the US-Mexico drugs war from two different groups on either side of the border. Making it was not without risk.
You know, obviously it was an incredibly dangerous film to make. You know, I've never been shot at before, I've never been in a meth lab before, I've never been in a place of torture, and that's where this film led me.
Another conflict was chronicled in Winter on Fire, Ukraine's Fight for Freedom, which looks at the 2014 uprising in Kiev. The filmmaker believes his documentary has definitely had an impact.
I think for the younger generation that grows right now, it's have a huge, fascinating examples of the role models of young generation that have been there, who stood for their rights, who decided to stood for what they believe for their best for the future.
Win or lose, these documentaries will all benefit from the Oscar nomination itself, which heightens their profile and can help the filmmakers move forward in their careers.